Hello, hello, and welcome to the Continuity Report for September 7th, 2024, Season 1, Episode 35. I am Mayor Watt, and the voice you're about to hear is the Sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens, and welcome to the Continuity Report.
Today we're going to be talking about Reacher around until Season 3, unconventional thrillers, best Disney theme park rides from movies, Aragon, the TV show, a sci-fi crime movie and AI expert, the Try Guys subscription, the perfect summer thriller turned 70, best fantasy movies ranked, Agatha All Along producer explains, and Hugh Jackman, the villain. That and more. All right, folks. There's some... I have a new radio station playing in the background. And sometimes I think it's creepy. So I want to know, there is a person that's on YouTube. I want to get this. I want to get Mix War going. But my problem is that we're running into problems with the legality of discussing music, because the moment you play it, you get flagged, and so you either have to stop it or chop it out, empty it, whatever. But I know of somebody very, very popular on YouTube, and they can play to their heart's content, apparently. I don't know if they've got some formula that allows them to do fair use because it's discussion. But boy, I don't want to have to sit there and babysit the legality of this, that, or the other, right? Particularly music, because a little snippet can land you in a content strike. You get 3 content strikes and you're done. So it's unsettling. I don't like the insecurity of that. Anyway, if you'd like to discuss music, particularly if it's popular, do you like it, that kind of a thing? That's what Mix War is all about. Making some music and then doing battle. Come and talk.
But we're in the Continuity Report right now.
Yes. First article over here in the Continuity Report is 10 shows like Reacher to watch while waiting for Season 3. The article is over at ScreenRant.com. Alicia Grusso put the article together. I'm trying to stop something. Do you think the production value is too low?
No, but I don't think we need to draw attention to it.
Why is your visualizer not really populating?
Let me see.
Okay, well, I
That's
guess it's
odd.
working. It's a little, the number of elements are kind of low. So, all right. Well, anyway, inside baseball, everybody. So come over to twitch.tv/ohmTown or go over to YouTube and watch as youtube.com/ohmTown. If you want all of the show notes, you'll have to go to Twitch until after the show because we don't post them until after the show. But in ohmTown on twitch.tv/ohmTown, if you hit !TCR, it will post all of the Continuity Report articles that we're talking about today. If you want to get the podcast, you hit !pod and it'll give you links to the podcast. And if you want the rest of the show notes for all of our previous latest episode, not just non sequitur news, not just reality hacker, not just wanted, not just WarCrafters or the Continuity Report or Technology Today or 4-Wheel Tech, all of them, you can just hit !show notes, and that will give you the syntax needed to draw all of our show notes out for whatever show you're interested in. That said, while waiting for Reacher Season 3, there's still plenty of similar series that can scratch the itch of fans waiting for the show's return. Let's go through this list. How about The Night Agent? Isn't it on hiatus? Like, they haven't launched the second season of it.
It's not on hiatus. They had the first season. The second season is coming. I think it's getting here in 2025.
Yeah, it's like hot mess though, right? Like, isn't people changing and stuff like that? I thought people are changing.
I don't know about that. I mean, some of the people were probably killed off in the first season.
It says, like the Jack Reacher series, The Night Agent is based on a series of books, these by Matthew Quirk. It's really cool. So the Night Agent is basically the person that's in the overnight shift of an emergency phone line that spies use. And, well, a civilian makes a call. And the hilarity ensues. It's actually a fun watch, but I was disheartened by it disappearing. I think because of the pandemic or something like that. Something happened. It says 2023 to current. It isn't from 2023, was it?
It is.
Why do I feel like it's an extraordinary amount of time that it hasn't been played?
Because the pandemic changed time perception.
Okay, get out. So the next article, or the number 9 on this list, is Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, which has taken on a whole bunch of different people playing Jack Ryan.
That's true, but this is the TV series.
Yeah.
Which was only one person.
Yeah, John Krasinski. It says here that it ran from 2018 to 2023, but it didn't feel that way. It does have a Screen Rant rating of 2.5 out of 5.
I actually thought Jack Ryan was better than Night Agent, but the ratings are different, so interesting.
Yeah.
I think the premise of the Night Agent is probably more interesting, but I thought the execution of Jack Ryan was better.
I agree. Yeah. Yep. The Old Man, which I haven't seen yet, 2022 to current. Go ahead.
I've heard a lot about this in several different sources that it sounds like a good show, but I haven't seen it.
Is it built off of books too, or do you know?
I don't know.
Because I can tell you one thing about these kind of shows. If it has good source material and a skilled actor, it cannot go wrong. But when they start going off, the tracks,
exactly,
willy-nilly, kind of, let's spitball this, then it turns into a true mistake. Old Man.
Oh, it is. It is actually.
They don't even
looks
mention
like it's based on a book. Okay, and I think it's a standalone, but it's an author that has other books, I guess.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're drawing out a book that apparently.
Right, so they're probably writing new scripts or something.
Oof. Well, hopefully the seasons that are out right now, 2022 to current. Wait, it has only one season. Oh, God.
Well, the writer's strike put a lot of things on hold, so I don't know if it's going to continue.
That's what it was. The writer's strike. That is really the pandemic and then the writer's strike.
Yeah, sorry. I should have mentioned that on the Night Agent.
Yep. Then Tracker 2024 to current, which means that it's the one season right now. Tracker is based on a character created by Jeffrey Deaver. So what does it say here?
Interesting that all of these so far are based on books.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. As long as you have a skilled screenwriter, the terminal list. This is an interesting one, mainly because it plays some timey-wimey stuff, if I remember it correctly. It says, just as audience were initially dubious about John Krasinski taking on the role of Jack Ryan, they're also saying the same thing about Chris Pratt. But the terminal list, it says, is just as testosterone-laden as Reacher and has been almost as big a hit. It's gotten some flack from critics being too serious and unable to laugh at itself. Sometimes that's exactly what an audience wants to see. So it says that it's shows based on a book series. This by former SEAL Jack Carr, following a SEAL agent who goes rogue after his whole platoon is ambushed and decides to hunt down those responsible. But I thought that he has something else going on.
Yeah, I thought there was something personal that kind of fueled this, but
yeah, I thought so too. Maybe I have this mixed up with something else. But I
I
think
don't
his
think
health,
so, but I don't want to give any spoilers.
I thought his health was in question. I don't remember now. All right, we'll have to review that one because I think it's an easy watch. Banshee, which I haven't seen, 2013 to 2016. It says Anthony Starr's breakout role might have been playing Homelander in The Boys, but he exhibited his ability to be menacing and legitimate threat on TV long before that in the crime drama Banshee. Plays an elite thief who gets out of prison and assumes the identity of Lucas Hood, the recently murdered sheriff of a small Pennsylvania town, to hide from the crime lord who wants him dead. Wow. That might be interesting.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of that one.
Huh. Then there's Bosch. Don't even need to talk about it. Just go watch Bosch.
Yes, and especially watch it soon because this upcoming season of Bosch Legacy is the last, but there is going to be a spin-off, I think.
Yeah, and Bosch Legacy is going to be somewhere else.
Well, it's on Freevee right now. I don't know if that's where it's going to be for season 3. Amazon Freevee.
I don't think it is. I can't remember though where it's going. There's an article in
I think we had another one, yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is by Michael Connolly. So, and the character of Bosch is just perfectly cast. So, definitely. Oh, look, I get to use it. Titus Welliver is the titular Harry Bosch. I don't know what a Bosch is, but apparently it's Harry.
He's named after a painter, Hieronymus Bosch.
Wow.
The character is.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, but it's not as funny. A Harry Bosch. Then there's Justified. Let's see. Justified is another neo-Western crime show based on a set of novels, this time by Elmore Leonard. But boy, what a fun one it is. Come for the Timothy Oliphant and stay for the Walton Goggins. So the moment that you say Walton Goggins after Fallout, you basically, you have me. I mean, I've always liked him, but he's loving his character in Fallout. So it says, in that way, there are echoes of Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday in Raylan, making it a must-watch. So I really like Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, by the way. So we'd have to go back and watch some more movies. So Deadwood is unbelievable, and Justified established the California actor as go-to Western badass, Timothy Oliphant. Then there's 24, which honestly, for me, it got old. At one point, it just got so over the top. Plus, I didn't like him always yelling at something.
There's no time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Then there's Marvel's The Punisher, 2017 to 2019. Yeah, I don't know. It says The Punisher features a pitch-perfect John Bernthal as Frank Castle, a former Force Recon Marine who becomes a vigilante after his family is murdered. His methods are ruthless and brutal, and while he does have a strict moral code, it does not extend to giving criminals grace. They say it's even better than Reacher in some ways, but I don't think so. Reacher is awesome. So, and it's all because of the source material. So,
yeah. And that was definitely a theme on this list, so that was interesting.
Yeah. Reacher book series by Lee Childs. They're not in order, by the way, so you can't even figure out what book is actually going to be riffed off of when the new season comes out. But I am waiting. Let's keep going. Spend a lot of time on that article. Sorry. These lists really kill me. The next article is over in the continuity report as well. 10 unconventional thriller movies that changed up the genre. I'm going to run through these really quick. Stephen Holland put the article together for Screen Rant. There is there is always more data in these articles than I can give it as a summary kind of here on the show. So one of the things that we've been considering is on the Patreon side, kind of have longer conversations about certain individual articles and even elements within it to give our particular take on it. But it's open to conversation, and I would love to be able to stream those episodes as well. But then it wouldn't be saved as a VOD over on YouTube until after like a week or more, depending on what it is for the Patreon subscribers. Anyway, unconventional thrillers shake up the genre and give audiences on the edge of their seats, unsure of how things will play out in the end. While many tropes and cliches in the thriller genre mean observant viewers are quick to uncover the mystery and decipher how things will pan out. So in some instances, these experiments are so influential that they left an indelible mark on cinema as a whole. So Hard Candy. Elliot Page is 14-year-old. So basically, victim turned vigilante. Then there's Take Shelter, 2011. Take Shelter highlights how Curtis's mental anguish had a ripple effect on his wife and child. Nocturnal Animals, I think it's about vampires. Nocturnal Animals stood out from other thrillers due to its unconventional structure, a story within a story structure. Director Tom Ford powerfully adapted the novel by Tony and Susan by Austin Wright. I think it's a novel called Tony and Susan by Austin Wright.
Yeah, and it looks like it's one of those, there's a story inside the story.
Yeah. So the dual narrative showcased the way that fiction can be used as a form of psychological revenge, as Nocturnal Animals become a complex and emotional fraught work of bleak romance. Interesting. Under the Skin, this was a surreal movie. So it's directed by Jonathan Glazer in 2013. ScarJo's interactions with the people that are in this movie were not planned. Like, they were planned, but those are not actors. The people that they interacted with were people from the town, is what I read. Under the Skin was a challenging film, but may not appeal to all viewers, but those who connect with its unique nature will be blown away by its incredible power. By embracing the hideous beauty of total annihilation, Johansson carried this odd narrative with minimal dialogue spectacularly. She doesn't talk. So basically, Scarlett Johansson plays a seductive, otherworldly entity who utilized her alluring appeal to prey on unsuspecting men in the Scottish countryside. And the people that they interacted with were denizens of that town. So it blew me away when they were talking about this in other areas. But and they said it was a box office bomb at the time. But I actually found it really fascinating.
The people probably didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, because it's surreal. So Drive, Nicholas Winding Refn, I guess their name is. I don't think I've ever seen this. Wait, this isn't Drive. Oh no, that's Baby Driver. So with a compelling story in which Gosling is determined to help his neighbor and her young son from an ex-con former husband, Drive had a slow building and well-paced narrative that harkened back to an earlier era of cinema. Basically, played an unnamed Hollywood stunt driver. There's another movie that the person is a stunt person. What is that? It's a brand new movie that just came out. I'll keep going on. Then there's Black Swan. Black Swan was a visually complex and often creepy look at a committed dancer's grasp on reality slowly unraveling. Mila Kunis plays the rival dancer and titular Black Swan in the production.
Here we go.
Yeah, got to use it in 2 articles. Yay! Jacob's Ladder is surreal, profoundly intense cinematic experience whose outrageous imagery meant it was not for the faint of heart. True. Tim Robbins as a dissociated Vietnam veteran dealing with the death of his child, Jacob's Ladder cataloged a man's descent into madness and PTSD, everything associated with it. Fight Club, that's true. That actually is like the content of so many college level theater papers nowadays.
Isn't that weird?
It's pretty wild, and it's a fun watch, particularly when you look past just the pure movie and look at the meaning of it. I think people even to this day would probably watch this and not know like what it's really all about. And Memento, that has a cult following. Memento's unique style rewarded intense concentration from viewers. Yep, because there's a lot that you can miss. Using a non-linear narrative, the unique nature of Memento left audiences feeling as profoundly lost and bewildered as its protagonist. You really do have to pay attention to it. Most people, I think, have watched this multiple times. And then Mulholland Drive from 2001. Anything David Lynch has always pushed audiences out of its comfort zone. Yep. Unconventional thriller. Mulholland Drive is one of the most unconventional thrillers ever produced for mainstream audiences, this says. A neo-noir full of twists and turns. The arcane nature of Mulholland Drive meant it offered new meaning with each subsequent viewing. It was originally intended as a television pilot.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Lynch, man. Most of their movies freak me out. Cryptic, dreamlike, surreal film. Okay, let's keep moving though. Like I said, these lists pull so much time.
Right, you can get dragged into them.
Each
one could be its own episode.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Particularly if I decide or we decide to go off the tracks and get stuff that isn't in the article, like talk about stuff that's being
right.
Which we do if we have anecdotal information about it, which is most of the time we have some experience with it. So these 10 best Disney theme park rides that are based on movies, I'm going to go through these really quick. Rise of the Resistance. The hotel that's built around this actually flamed out entirely.
Which is absolutely astounding. It's Disney and it's Star Wars, but the price was
$5,000 a weekend or something like that. So
people that would like to go probably can't afford to go.
Yep. Pandemic didn't help.
Exactly.
So on their mission, riders encounter AT-ATs, which is really funny because there's AT-ATs, right? AT-ATs, but nobody says AT-ATs, but AT-STs.
Oh, but then they do say, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because you can't say ATSs.
ATS. Yeah. So you meet Kylo Ren himself, stormtroopers, etc. You might actually find them at the park too, walking around. Smuggler's Run is primarily based on the original trilogy. Rise of the Resistance is an homage to the sequel. Peter Pan's Flight. That actually looks kind of creepy.
This one, by the way, is a huge draw. Like, it has huge lines to get into.
Oh, interesting. It came out 2 years before Disneyland opened. Disney's Peter Pan came out 2 years before Disneyland opened. That's
at Disney World.
Yep. Pretty cool. Original Disneyland rides, which still delights guests of all ages. Disney is actually inventing newer animatronics so that it looks more realistic. And they're quite interesting. They almost look like real world animation, and less human. So pretty interesting. Anyway, Peter Pan's Flight is surrounded by other classic rides based on movies such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Alice in Wonderland. However, it still outshines all of them at how immersed guests in a dreamlike world. So you say that people just kind of jam-pack this?
At Disney World they do. I don't know about at Disneyland.
Gotcha. Pirates of the Caribbean, Battle for the Sunken Treasure. However, free from nostalgia at Disneyland Shanghai, the Imagineers got really creative with this park's version of the Pirates of the Caribbean, which is based on the movie's plot. This ride utilizes screens to highlight aspects of the movie. Everything okay? Yeah, okay. So the ride features Davy Jones and the Kraken as its narrative's main antagonists, finishing with a sea battle against the Flying Dutchman, and ending with Jack Sparrow having now acquired a vast amount of treasure.
I mean, that sounds very immersive. I'm sure it's pretty cool, especially since it was probably built more recently, right? Yeah. So it probably has the more realistic or more advanced
animatronics.
Yes.
Yep. Now I want to go to Disneyland Shanghai. I actually tried to get the domain Imagineers, by the way. Someone individually owned it, not a company or anything, and Disney didn't own it for the longest time. And I kept trying to get it because I wanted that domain. Because of what I did in a previous life, it was kind of my thing, but I had a feeling that Imagineers was, at the time, I didn't really know or follow intellectual property. So anyway, Indiana Jones Adventure, located at Adventureland. That looks really immersive. Look at that. Look how big.
Yeah, it really does.
Cool. Yeah. Perfect immersive experience for diehard fans. Indiana Jones Adventure. Smuggler's Run, located at Galaxy's Edge. We actually just talked about elements of that. So I don't really know. I mean, is Galaxy's Edge still doing really great? I know that it says groups then enter a Millennium Falcon cockpit and are given different tasks: pilot, guns, cargo. That is seriously immersive.
Okay, that sounds really neat.
I've always wanted to go because I want lightsabers. Like real authentic style lightsabers.
Like make a real one.
Yeah, and that's what you do in Galaxy's Edge. You go through a process of doing it. Radiator Springs Racers, located in Cars Land, which I've never even seen. California Adventure. That would be fun to watch. Or to go and check out.
Yeah, no, it would.
The last section of the ride is a fast race with Doc's theme from the movies. And then the Incredicoaster, which is a Pixar Pier, California Adventure. I'm going to have to go to California Adventure. Previously known as California Screamin', the ride was designed with the branding of Pixar's hit superhero movie. They changed it to Incredicoaster.
Oh, okay. Once The Incredibles came out, I see.
So Mad Tea Party, that's a teacup ride. That's in Fantasyland. Not much more to say about that. And this one has been kind of wrought with some problems. Longtime Disneyland staple, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The one I think that it was before it became Tiana's Bayou Adventure posed issues, and it got changed to this.
Yes.
The ride will still have its famous drop after a twisting voyage through the bayou. But they talk about it. The problematic Song of the South. The new Tiana's Bayou Adventure will retain the best aspects of the ride. Yeah, just nix that. You know, I'm all for history, but not the worst parts of it. Remember the worst parts and don't ever let them happen again. That's kind of the takeaway from my perspective. And then Star Tours, located in Tomorrowland, which I absolutely love the idea of Tomorrowland. I really wish that it was a real the tour, the airlines what was the airline tour in Missouri? What was the name of the airline?
The TWA Museum?
Yeah, so the TWA Museum had the rocket from Tomorrowland, and it looks like the rocket from SpaceX, including the landing, whatever, little legs, the landing.
That's right.
And I talked to the tour guide about it, and they said that this is the scaled down version of the one that still exists. It's on the roof of some building. I can't remember where they said it was. But basically, it seems like the SpaceX rocket in its landing gear is taken straight out of Tomorrowland. And I really wish that those technology, like massive technology pop-up towns still existed. There used to be a time where you could do that. Like I think it was in New York, where you had like the equivalent of a Tomorrowland that showed high tech and stuff like that. But maybe that's what these conventions are. I don't know. Anyway,
it kind of sounds like World's Fair or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But
I think that might have been in Chicago, but I'm not sure.
Oh, there is the Chicago World's Fair. Yeah, you're right. But it seems like a bygone age, and for all of its bad, that bygone age had some good parts, and I wish that we would have kept that part in particular. Anyway, Star Tours previously only had one possible adventure, which ended with the group joining the famous trench run. However, Disney has since upgraded Star Tours to include a variety of different planets to visit, with guests randomly being assigned to one when they arrive.
Okay, that's also neat, because then you could go through it multiple times, perhaps.
Yeah, well, it says, although it's not so enjoyable for guests prone to motion sickness. Whoops. But yeah, I love the idea of this. It would be fun. And that's it for that article. So let's keep moving. We are woefully behind in our time. I'm sorry, folks. Let's see if I can make it really fast. 15 biggest challenges Disney's Aragon show faces, bringing the inheritance cycle to life. If you're into Aragon, the inheritance cycle is Christopher Paolini's fantasy saga. Aragon and its sequel follow the title character. It's not title character. It should be.
I thought it was titular.
Yeah. Who discovers a dragon egg in the forest near his home and becomes a rider bonded to the dragon Saphira. Dun dun dun. So it says biggest challenges bringing it to life. Probably budget. Trying to make dragon riding a thing. I don't know. So they're going to go through the list. Comparisons to other fantasy series. How about Aragon preceded this? So
it did, but I don't think it was well received in movie form.
Aragon? Yeah. I mean, it had older technology, so that's number 15. Balancing CGI and practical effects is number 14. I agree, but the upgrade of that, it needs to just be updated. So that's also why there will have to be balance between filming on location and on a soundstage. But man, some of today's technology is pretty amazing. Number 13 is adapting less than one book per season. The novels might be too dense for a single season. I agree. Aragon is huge, so I cannot.
It is, and each book is really jam-packed and a pretty long novel. So
yeah. It says, though they're aimed at younger audiences, the books are incredibly detailed and long, much like the Harry Potter novels and Lord of the Rings novels.
What's interesting, too, is that the content is actually quite advanced for the audience. Like, there's a lot of violence in the books and pretty detailed.
Yeah. And not tiny concepts. The team behind the show will need to be flexible to best serve. And this is the team behind the show, the screenwriter really needs to stick to the source material and not water it down. Because I think the audience of today is pretty profound. I mean, they can really understand what's going on. And if you keep the denser, more adult aspects of it in the final content, I think you'll get a broader audience between people who would shrug off not knowing it simply because of the fun of the show, and the people who do get into the books and want the original story and not some watered down fluff puff piece.
Right. Well, and you might also expand beyond like the young adult audience.
Yep. Casting age-appropriate actors, that's kind of obvious. Aragon is 15 when the story begins. How old are they at the end of that? Well, I don't know. I haven't read the whole series.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably got to be several years older because there's a lot of things that happen.
So Aragon and several other characters throughout the series, or throughout the stories, are teenagers, and they should appear as teenagers in the show. So they're going to have to basically get it done in short order, not 10 years. So world building, Aggregated. Aragon might need more than 4 seasons. Yeah, I would say so. But who knows how much they're going to chop out or, kind of amplify. Oh, folks, this is going to be a longer show. Aragon and Arya's relationship. They need to implicitly convey a profound relationship. I don't think they need to implicitly. I think they can. I mean, with the visuals and the writing, it's going to be. They should have on-screen chemistry. That's the most important part of it. The actors playing Aragon and Arya in the Aragon reboot will be challenged with depicting a profound relationship between the two characters without anything ever happening between them. Hopefully these actors will have good writers to help bring them the dynamic to life. It's all about charisma between the two without, overtly anything. So writing compelling supporting character arcs, and there's a lot. So there's quite a few.
Yeah, and these are pretty key people to the story, so I agree.
Elva will be a particularly difficult character to adapt. In the first book, Aragon accidentally curses an orphan baby girl because he is not yet adept at using the ancient language, and the girl Elva feels the pain of others and can sense oncoming dangers, and her curse is to be a shield. Causes her to age rapidly as she can better accomplish this role, and at only a few months old, she appears as a small child, but speaks like a grown woman. Yikes! This is like Poor Things.
Oh, I was thinking like Benjamin Button or something.
Yeah, that's the yeah.
Or the reverse, maybe.
Yeah, that's old guy in that blips out. What happens? No, we can't talk about that. We need to watch Benjamin Button so that we can actually do like a Patreon of Benjamin Button and just do that for Continuity Report. What happens to Benjamin Button? I'm just going to leave that hanging there. Anyway, Disney will need to find a young actress that convey Elva's. They need like a Thora Birch kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, she'd be really good, but she's probably too old now.
Now she's too old, yeah. Creating good action sequences, just leave that alone. Casting Galbatorix. The Inheritance Cycle's main villain will probably be played by a famous actor. Yep, would have to be. Let's just keep rolling through this. Unique production and costume design, that's a given. Creating the Razak, which to me, they remind me of... oh, goodness. My brain just hasn't been working today all that well.
I don't know, but they're pretty terrifying in the books.
Yeah. A combination
so
of practical...
So they can't just be... Like, they can't be cartoonish.
Yeah. Oh, the Dark Crystal.
Oh, okay. But they also can't be so scary that they scare off their audience.
Yeah, Skeksis. So there's these kind of creepy raven-like creatures. They're more like buzzards. This kind of reminds me of them. Ancient race that feeds on humans. The Razak are a nearly extinct race. I think that would
This looks very tame compared to how they're portrayed in the book, I think.
Gotcha. These creatures, as scary as they are in the books, hopefully Aragon will innovate in how they capture the Razak.
It kind of reminds me of those, can't think of what they are in Harry Potter. The, is it the Wraith or something?
Not the Dementors, but you're talking about the flying...
Yes, I don't know why. there's a similar element. Like, it's kind of odd and scary.
The horse things, right?
Yeah.
But they're skeleton. Yeah, I can't remember their name either, but that's okay. Aragon and Saphira's telepathic communication. Yeah, they're going to have a hard time embodying telepathic communication.
Unless they're going to caption it or something. Because that's actually a big part of the stories.
Yeah, something's going to have to give it away that they're having telepathic communication, like some visual effect. I don't know how they would do it. Abridging the inheritance cycle for television. Meh. Draw it out. I swear. Don't lose content. Brevity is not the solution here. Telling the full story and how rich and deep it needs to be, that is the only way that you're going to keep people that are fans of the inheritance cycle. There's no way that you can like cut out anything. It says this involves carefully selecting which subplots and secondary characters to condense or omit. They will regret that.
Yeah, they're going to anger their audience, I think, if they do that.
Yeah. Because subplots and secondary characters are part of the world building experience, particularly, I think, in Aragon. And then living up to fan expectations. So I don't even know how this is the biggest challenge. This is the only challenge.
Right. I mean, that's the only critical one, but it kind of encompasses all these other things.
Rest.
Yeah,
for sure. Each fan has their own particular vision for what it would mean to bring the book to life. This is the biggest challenge set against Disney.
Even the basic, like, what does the dragon Saphira look like? I mean, those are going to be key things. I think that's in error. I'm going to go with it should be 2025. I hope it's not 2050.
I think we're a little early for this discussion. Yeah. All right, let's keep hustling. We've got half the show still to do, and we're 42 minutes into the show. Tom Cruise's sci-fi crime movie with an RT score of 89% gets high accuracy score from an AI expert. I wanted to spend a lot of time with this. Kelty Gores over at ScreenRant.com put the article together, but we're not going to be able to. I might have to pull this out and like just do a deeper dive. Sasha Lucioni, an AI researcher at Hugging Face, a startup, a global startup that works on responsible AI, recently sat down with Insider for an extensive breakdown into various AI depictions in media, including Minority Report. And she began by addressing the swarm intelligence used in the film. The term swarm intelligence is used when multiple robots coordinate together to cover more ground or scan for more items. Like those in the spider robots in the film, which Lucioni says are on the mark. Interesting. So they go through Minority Report and provide basically an observation. It says the percentage of accuracy of these programs is actually only about 1% when they're applied in the real world.
Ouch.
And it says these programs send robots and police resources to certain areas that have been predicted to be the location of impending crime, but the percentage of accuracy in the real world is 1%. That would probably be because there's no human interaction. What happens with the Minority Report is there's human interaction that analyzes the data from the prescients, basically the fortune tellers. They actually see into the future, but there's a Minority Report that gets ignored because he's in the office of pre-crime. And these visual cues that are given to the prescients, I can't remember the triplets.
Were they the precogs?
Precogs. Yep, there you go. They have the ability to then transmit their visual elements to a recording, and then in the Minority Report, an analyst goes through it and pulls out key factors, and then they send a police squad to stop a crime before it happens. So far, predicting crimes with high precision, as seen in the Minority Report, is not realistic. So they said even still 7 out of 10, pretty high score for a science fiction film. I don't even know how it could possibly get a 7 out of 10 for realism. But I won't go through all of this. There's minutia and pictures and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of Minority Report, even though I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. I disconnect myself because I'm not a fan. Professionally, I like the results of the movies, but I don't really like Tom Cruise.
Right, but I mean, he's acting and it is in a role.
Yeah. So, yeah, but sometimes, you just can't distance yourself enough. But I love the idea of my Minority Report. It's very cyberpunky, but then it has temporology and cultural, sociological mechanisms and stuff like that. I love the idea of it. It's fun world building, and I think that there should be additional world building within the Minority Report. There's so many stories that can be produced, but maybe they told it all. Let's keep going. This one will be really quick. Basically, the Try Guys have been around on YouTube for quite a considerable amount of time. The Try Guys have abandoned their reliance on Google's algorithm and advertiser revenue by launching a standalone streaming service called Second Try. They still post videos over on YouTube, though, and then people transfer over to their subscription. It's on Patreon, and many YouTubers use Patreon for an additional revenue
That's not really unique, right? But perhaps the standalone streaming service is what makes this, is this going to be a model that others follow?
Yeah, good luck. It's very expensive. Zach Valise over at CNBC put this article together, and there really isn't much more about this. Subscription platforms like Patreon allow creators to bypass the algorithm entirely, connecting directly with the most loyal fans who are willing to pay for exclusive content. There's a lot of YouTubers that do this, and even ohmTown has this as an option, but right now we don't have content that is being injected into Patreon because we're pretty new and kind of focused on streaming. But the Try Guys have something like 25 people in their employ, and so this subscription model guarantees a certain amount of income. And
that's true, and I can see that would work, but they still have to think about all these other costs, right? Like the bandwidth or store. I mean, just all these things that they're suddenly responsible for.
Yeah. And quality, like the quality of service needs to be maintained like YouTube. It can't falter. So I'm not sure what the cost is for their particular solution. But I don't know if Patreon, I don't know if their service is actually using YouTube still. And so what you do is you link into the YouTube storage, and it's only accessible by a link in your Patreon account. And so nobody other than Patreon members can actually access it. I don't know if that's how they have it set up. If that is how they have it set up, I just know that there are private links available, and you can set that up in YouTube. Well, anyway, they're basically expanding. So they have everything that they have with YouTube, but they're also adding Patreon for a set amount per month.
I mean, I think if they're in both locations, that could work. But if they're only in Patreon, I think that's an issue.
Yeah, no, I think they're everywhere. Try Guys will now have over 8 million subscribers and 2.7 billion views on YouTube. They announced in May the launch of their streaming service, Second Try. And it's referred to as Second Try TV, 2ndtry.tv. Where most of their new videos are behind a paywall and subscribers can access exclusive content for around $5 a month without ads. In the 3 months launching, the company says it's on track to reach profitability. I'm not surprised. But you can pay on YouTube for content that's without ads. It's a monthly fee. You can get access.
That's true.
For everything, it ditches the ads. So other creators are trying to recreate the Netflix subscription model too. Watcher Entertainment, Dropout, or two more. I know of podcasters that are doing the same thing. I mean, it's a legit additional revenue stream. All right, let's keep moving though. The next article is 70 years ago, Hollywood made the perfect summer thriller. Here's why it still holds up in 2024. Alex, well, is this Rear Window?
It is.
Interesting.
I peeked ahead at this one.
Oh, did you?
But I didn't read the article. I just want to see what the movie was.
Phenomenal movie. Yeah, I agree. It's a great thriller. I'll just say thriller.
Because we only select 10 articles, and I don't necessarily want to feature something that isn't worth featuring.
Gotcha. Alex Welch put this article together. It's over at Digital Trends. Yeah, I can say that Rear Window was a blast to watch. So it says we've become a race of peeping toms. That line may be written by screenwriter John Michael Hayes 70 years ago, but it's only become more relevant in the decades since. It's a comment directed at the film's Stella's client, L.B. Jeffries, Jimmy Stewart, a thrill-seeking photographer who's been left apartment-bound in a giant itchy plaster cast after breaking his leg during a job gone wrong, with nothing to do but sit in his wheelchair and look out his apartment window. He's basically spying on his neighbors, and then he sees, dun dun dun, fellow tenants Lars Tharwald has secretly killed his wife. Or has he?
And it's interesting too, because the setting of this movie, I believe, is very limited.
It's like
which
12
you
Angry
wouldn't
Men.
think, right? I mean, you wouldn't really think with a thriller that would work, but I think it does.
Yep. I think it's awesome. That fear is exacerbated by his off-screen injury in Rear Window, which has left him literally trapped in his apartment. He's a photojournalist who seems to care more about the adventures of his job provides than the images that he captures, regardless of whether they involve nights spent sleeping on rocks in the jungle or standing in the middle of a dangerous... I won't go through this entire thing because it looks like it's going to be talking about the entirety of the movie, scene by scene.
Right.
So why is it... there's a reason why Hitchcock is called the master of suspense. So it's clear why. The film is a slow burn of tension, paranoia, doubt, and creeping dread. And while I think that the story and if you watch it within that temporal and cultural context, this thing actually is a great film. But nowadays, the attention span of people would demand this to be faster.
Exactly. But it really would undo what works about this movie. But I agree. It'd be challenging for somebody today to pick it up.
Yeah, like, okay, so I recently watched Poor Things, and that is one of the craziest movies that I have seen in a long time. And even it was pushing, I think, the slow crawl, because there were some slow parts in it. But it was really juxtaposed by the slowness, the slow crawl of that whole story. Was juxtaposed by the weirdness factor. And there's a scene where if all you were doing was paying attention to the weirdness, you'd miss some of the messaging. Like there's a bunch of people in an ivory tower looking down at the poor, and there's a horrible, horrible scene. I mean, it just is a horrible scene. And the only thing separating these rich people is a staircase that is broken halfway down. And so it's a scene about opportunity, and the only thing that separates the two is that opportunity. And then everybody is kind of predated on, but anyway, this movie, it's a slow crawl, and it stays that way all the way up until the end. So it says, as you watch it, you almost forget the entire film is unfolding from within the confines of its reckless hero's apartment, which the reckless part of it doesn't really come into play, I don't think. He's just frustrated by being wheelchair bound and not being able to do anything about it.
I think there are some reckless scenes, though.
Not with him, though. Right? He doesn't... Oh, now I'm going to have to watch it again. I guess
I'm not sure. I don't remember all the scenes from it.
At least not, I mean, he gets caught peeping, but so as it, I guess I shouldn't spoiler this.
Right.
Hold on. I can do it. Spoiler alert.
Retroactive. Maybe we should make one that says retroactive spoiler.
Yeah, I'll work on it. So yeah, I think that it's a great movie. Okay, we need to get going. Come on, Mayor Watt. So the 10 best R-rated fantasy movies that are ranked, and I'll run through these really quick. It's over at Screen Rant. Mary Castle put the article together. Oh, I can't. Oh yeah, I can. So Underworld, it's number 10. Usually on Apple TV, there's an entire package for Underworld. You can get everything that's involved in it. But it's cool. It says one of the most memorable parts of Underworld is the cohesive styling, and mood lighting. Stylization.
I mean, that's a stylish way to do styling, right?
Yeah, style. Cohesive style and mood lighting. Might as well just call it cohesive style. That lend themselves to the overall atmosphere of the project. I agree. And it's a fun watch. Just turn off your brain. Then Constantine is amazing. I absolutely love Constantine. The world building is spectacular. I love the acting. It's from a comic, or graphic novel, Mom. And it needs more. But unfortunately, I don't think that, see, it's from DC Comics Hellblazer. I don't think that Keanu Reeves would come back to it, although maybe he would. I love how Reeves plays Constantine. I have to keep moving. I'm sorry. I'd love to talk more about this stuff. Highlander from 1986. This is a great movie as well. Wait, what's the premise of this? The 10 best R-rated fantasy. All right.
Yeah, I actually forgot what the theme was from this article.
Yeah, this is awesome. So basically, Highlander is a movie about, it says Christopher Lambert plays an immortal man from 16th century Scotland, Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. Anyway, the whole idea of it is that periodically all of the immortals that are on the planet have to fight it out to the death, because only one can survive. And it's a blast. It's a cult classic is what it says here, and I agree. And it's the only place where Sean Connery can play a Spaniard. Then there's The Crow, has a cult following. It says there are many differences between the new 2024 adaptation of The Crow, which was never needed, and the original movie, and all of them point to the fact that the 1994 iteration is better. I agree. Plus, hey, let's not... Why sully the historical record of Brandon Lee's performance as The Crow? Although, when you really start thinking about it, the 2024 one is really wonky. I don't know. I've seen it once, and I don't think I want to watch it again. The Northman, which I haven't seen, says deeply in conversation with Norse mythology. The Northman stars Alexander Skarsgård as a Viking warrior, Prince Amleth, whose uncle usurps the king, which Amleth narrowly escapes. Interesting. And vows to get vengeance on his uncle. So there isn't really much that we can talk about, huh? Because you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. It sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, if you're into Norse mythology. The Northman. 64% rotten score. Critic score 90%. Oh man, that must be highbrow.
Yeah, that's always interesting, I think, when the critic score is higher than the audience score. I feel like it normally goes the other way.
Yeah. The critics must have seen something that the others didn't see, you know? I'd have to compare all of the actual writing that the critics say. So Sleepy Hollow is number 5, which I think is a blast. Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci actually have some really nice on-screen chemistry, and it's a lot of fun. The whole Ichabod Crane story, the Hoardless Hesman, the Headless Horseman, the embodiment, pun intended, is a lot of fun to watch. How it all works, but the ending is all kinds of gross. So anyway, visually, the film is the perfect thing to watch during the fall to get into the mood for Halloween, and I agree. Maybe we'll have to watch that here in ohmTown. Then there's Hellboy, which I think is spectacular. Guillermo del Toro directed this. I have always wanted more Hellboy, but I think there was a sequel, if I remember right. I watched it, and I liked Hellboy 2 as well. What was it called? The Golden Army. I think it was called The Golden Army.
It was from 2008.
Yeah, and I loved that. There's so much world building in the Hellboy line that they're actually bringing it back to theaters. Not this version of the Hellboy series, like the 2. They're bringing another whole new Hellboy actor.
Okay.
And story and everything is coming back. So Ron Perlman will not be Hellboy in the upcoming iteration. The Green Knight. This is probably the slowest burn of a movie I have ever watched. It was plodding.
So, Rear Window would be faster paced than this?
I would probably say yes. Dave Patel's underrated fantasy drama, The Green Knight, is an exciting addition to the canon of tales and fables about the legendary King Arthur. However, the film is a twist on the well-known story as it follows Gawain, a knight of the Round Table, as he undergoes the challenge of the titular Green Knight. Thirsting for fame and glory, Gawain accepts the challenge of the Green Knight, unaware that the cost of his notoriety will later be his life. This is such a weird movie, and it really, for me, was plodding. Anyway, Green Knight incorporates some surrealist elements into the story and the look at the project, making it difficult for the audience to determine what's real and what's a figment of Gawain's imagination. Anyway, it's funny because the movie starts out with people going, "Don't do that," and he does it. He challenges basically the Green Knight.
Okay.
Yeah. And people are like, "Oh, you're a dumbass." Shape of Water, where somebody falls in love with basically water thing. I don't know how to describe that. They say it deals with how people are faced with repression of self-expression and sexuality that was rampant during this time. Cold War. All right.
Let me guess. This is going to be a higher critic score than the audience score.
Is it in there?
No, it doesn't tell us.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
Look at that. Whenever I guess I can call it, right? Like when it has some undercurrent of something deep and meaningful.
Exactly, where you're like, I'm not sure about that. Okay.
Where you have to be a historian and an art historian.
Right.
Yeah. So Pan's Labyrinth, which is another Guillermo del Toro. By the way, this one up here was directed by Guillermo del Toro. So I think Guillermo del Toro has
a theme here.
Has a lock on Guillermo del Toro. Is there another one? Is Guillermo on any of the others? Anyway, number 1 is Pan's Labyrinth. So set in Spain in the summer of 1944, much of Pan's Labyrinth is explicitly about the Spanish Maquis revolutionaries who were fighting against fascism during the period. And this has an interesting story. There's another movie. It isn't Pan's Labyrinth. What's the one where the girl falls in the lake, or in the stream, I mean, while she's walking across the bridge? Bridge to Terabithia. Damn it. It's right in the name.
Oh, yes.
That one I could not get through.
That one's based on a book, I know.
Crushed me, yeah. But Pan's Labyrinth has that fantastical kind of aspect to it, but it's interesting. I would say everybody should watch this and then go and search YouTube for Pan's Labyrinth, like explained or something like that, because there's certain things that take place in Pan's Labyrinth that you'd go, oh, now that makes sense. Like things get triggered by certain actions that wouldn't normally. I can't. Hold on. This is how it works. Okay, I can't talk about it. So I'm just gonna stop flashing the spoiler alert, and that's gonna stop me. All right, we have 2 more articles. This next one is gonna be really quick. I have to make it quick. Agatha All Along producer explains that very long fake title gag. One of the weirder little gags from Marvel's various TV ambitions over the years, quite publicly, over several months stretching forward from 2021, when Disney announced the making of the series. Catherine Hahn's WandaVision character Agatha Harkness, originally announced as the fairly innocuous Agatha House of Harkness, a name that's actually used for at least 2 online Marvel comics. In subsequent years, the show seemed to suddenly shift titles in 2022, appearing as The Coven of Chaos and then Darkhold Diaries not much longer afterward. So apparently, this is a title gag. But I don't know how. It's over at AV Club. William Hughes put the article together. The deck statement is a quote: "The nature of the stunt felt very Agatha, very liar," said EP executive producer Mary Levanos, noting the gag was the brainchild of creator Jack Schaefer. So scan
so
this
they
real
actually
quick, AI.
changed the name along the way?
Eventually the show just came out and announced that, yeah, it's called Agatha All Along, just as everyone sort of suspected. The bit was clearly meant as a running joke about the character's deceptive nature, which can apparently extend even to messing, I'm going to edit that, messing with the show's original search engine results, or own search engine results. I don't like that. I don't like Agatha All Along. It's dumb.
No, I don't think that's a good name.
Because I think it should be Agatha House of Harkness, the name that's actually been used for at least 2 online Marvel comics in subsequent years. I don't know.
And I think all 3 of those titles are better than Agatha All Along.
Yeah. Coven of Chaos, I think that would be fine, because that's what her magic is, chaos. But it's not... God. Anyway, it says here, hats off to Jack Schaefer on that one. WandaVision, Agatha All Along mastermind Jack Schaefer, who enlisted both the show's cast and its writers to keep the odd little gag going. I don't understand why it's a gag. It seems dumb.
Yeah, I think if they're really trying to hype up something about her character, couldn't they do that through trailers or something where she says something like, okay, this is happening, and then like in the next one it's like, no, that what, like she's changing gears, not the title.
Yeah, do it with content.
I mean, I don't have a good example, but yeah.
Do it with content, not with the title. I mean, it's dumb. Anyway, they said the nature of the stunt felt very Agatha, very liar. And it was fun to do. How fun is that? It just seems dumb.
Yeah, that doesn't seem really, I don't know.
Maybe
Seems like one of those like Hollywood execs, like, that's really fun, but do the viewers?
Oh yeah, like what is that show that we watch on YouTube every once in a while? The script one?
Oh, Pitch Meeting?
Pitch Meeting. Yeah. You know what we should do?
Oh, I bet there'll be a good one for that.
Yeah. Let's keep going. The last article for tonight's the continuity report is this 18-year-old Hugh Jackman movie with 77% on RT, Rotten Tomatoes, proves we need more of him as a villain. This is The Prestige. It comes up from time to time, and I've watched it, but I watched it a long time ago, and for the life of me, I can't really remember it. His charismatic portrayal of P.T. Barnum in The Greatest Showman is put upon Jean Valjean's in Les Miserables, and the sweet rom-com heroes of Paperback Hero and Kate and Leopold all prove Jackman's heroic bona fides. I don't know. I like Jackman. I'm cool with him playing whatever role.
I mean, The Greatest Showman was certainly a good movie.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I've seen The Prestige.
Oh, The Greatest Showman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It had I think its cinematography was spectacular. The Prestige is actually the same way. If you haven't seen it, we'll watch it. And
I can't think of which one it is, but
they're magicians and they're all fighting and it gets kind of surreal. Like, not surreal, but supernatural. Like, there's an element in there that you're like, oh, this is real magic. But I'm watering it down because I don't want to really spoil anything. So The Prestige is Rupert Angier is Hugh Jackman's best villain role. The Wolverine actor stuns as Christopher Nolan's obsessive magician. And this will ruin it. I can't read too much of this. But yeah. Yeah. You'll have to, I'm sorry, folks, you'll just have to go and watch this yourself. But I want to watch these like as a group of people watching them. I think that would be fun. Like a virtual thing all together on like Discord or something like that.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you need another button. It's something like in advance of spoiler alert or something. Like, you're not going to do a spoiler alert.
Oh, right. I
can't think of what it would be called.
And I won't spoil this button.
Right.
So it's an 18-year-old Hugh Jackman movie with a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Proves we need more of him as a villain. Yeah, I agree. Why not? I mean, if they're up for it, then let him be a villain. But you need... The problem is
villain roles are more interesting than protagonists usually, if there's a good actor.
Yeah, doing the right thing is rarely entertaining, Who wants to... It's not exciting to put the dumpster fire out. Putting the dumpster fire on fire. It's the
dumpster
right thing.
Fire that's more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, to a person who wants to do the right thing all the time, it's not entertaining to watch a dumpster fire be put out. What's exciting to a person who puts out dumpster fires is lighting it. Oh, wait,
in a movie, maybe.
It's
different than the actual actions.
So, abracadabra. And we're back at the front page of the Continuity Report in ohmTown.com. Go over there, become a citizen, and you can check out all of this stuff that we're talking about as well, aggregated in one place, all news, no noise. I don't post anything personal there. Nothing business is posted there. It's all from external sources, little snippets aggregated into buckets that we call shows, aka channels. And there's 50 of them. Running a broad spectrum from creator and maker, news and business, science and education, drink, food and entertainment, society, politics and law, and gadgets and technology. This last one is a utilities button, and it's actually missing a couple of things because when you're logged in, you actually have the ability to create lists on your own, but that's on the back end of things. And I have a custom solution in place where you can create a hide all of this news, I never want to see it again, and a save forever kind of list. And eventually what you do is you can move stuff out of the I don't want to hide this, and it will move into a different list and you'll never see it. But at any rate, it's a lot of fun to be able to categorize your stuff for save later, and you can actually flag things once you're inside an article. You can actually flag things, report them, merge them into other things. Depending on what your role is, you can actually subscribe and favorite them and send lists of favorites to people. There's all kinds of stuff on the back end of this community solution. But the key ingredient here has always been the front page, which is right off of this, where you can swipe articles left and right and save and hide them for yourself, not for everybody. And you can always vote for articles. But anyway, enough. We ran really long. With that in mind, I am Mayor Watt, and the Sentient AI's visualizer.
Can't catch me. Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Continuity Report. We'll be back next week with another one, but stay tuned for tomorrow's other shows.
Yep, tomorrow we try to get it going around 3 or 4. We normally do it at 4, but it really depends. Mayor Watt sometimes has mayoral duties that need to be attended to, and so I'll drag all of the articles forward, and we'll do the shows at 3. So if you want to find out about when we do the show, be sure to like and subscribe us over on YouTube. Follow us here on Twitch. The Patreon exists. TikTok exists. Discord exists. And the podcast. Yep, the podcast.
And the
exists.
YouTube replay.
And YouTube, yeah. It's all over there, over 1,100 episodes of various shows. Like when you combine it, we're over 1,100 episodes, 1,200 episodes, I think we're at now. With the bulk of them, the Non Sequitur News, which is a daily show that's been running for 2 years and now 9 months. So, yay us. Go over and follow us.
Over 1,300 videos.
Oh, 1,300. Wow. Haven't missed a day of Non Sequitur News. It used to be called ohmTown Daily News Show, but we changed the name to better match up with how we conduct the show, which is unconventional, I'd say. A little oddball. Anyway, we're out of here. See you soon. Bye-bye. Now it's time to go watch the movies.